Okay, so we're at the point where I need to take this flywheel off. And to break that, I have the special tool. I have bolted this to my bench. I have a piece of wood to keep this from moving, and I have a breaker bar. So let's see if this works. There it goes. That was super easy, barely an inconvenience. Okay, I need to get my brand new bearing puller, or flywheel puller, or whatever this thing is, set up, so be back. I went through all that trouble to get it all set up, and I just walked over here and it just came right off. So I guess I don't need to do that. So that's nice, it just popped off. I still need to get that one on the back side off, so I'll get set up for that. Okay, let's see if we can pull this off. I've already removed or loosened the set screw. Be back. Okay. We removed this little dealy bob and gives us a smaller thing to pull on. That is nice and rusty. Excellent. Now I can move forward with more cleaning. So this morning I'm going to be cleaning up this mess here. Of course, I'll save you all the horror of watching because it's going to take a while. But that's what I'm going to be doing here for probably a good hour or so. Alright, so this is where we're at so far. I've scraped off as much of this as I can with a screwdriver. There's a mound of dirt, mud clods down here. I'm going to try and rinse this, or wash this off with a pressure washer. I removed the coil and then put the cover back on so that I can wash it off, because inside there it's actually pretty clean, and we'll go from there. So that's what it looks like after it's been pressure washed. That's about as good as I could get it. That stuff is really caked on there. So I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to take a wire brush to it. Okay, after working on this thing for easily about an hour, using a Dremel tool and the small wire wheel set from Harbor Freight, I was able to get most of the garbage off this thing. There's some more cleanup that needs to be done. But the nice thing about it is that, well, I'll be able to clean it off and I'll be able to get some of this painted. The next process is going to be to remove this and do the valve seats on this. I'll regrind them or reseat them or lap them. And I'm still waiting on the head gasket and the points. There's nothing, the points in this thing work, but I'm still going to replace them. And that's it for now. Okay. Anybody who actually watches my videos might notice that there's a lot less noise in the background. That's because the not hot season has finally come, and it is now not hot out, and I don't have to run the air conditioning as much. What the heck? What size is that? There we go. So, what are we going to be doing today is we're going to be lapping the valves, or we're going to try. This is I want to say when I worked on these in 6th grade, this was my least favorite thing to try to do because trying to get the springs off of here was rather difficult. Especially for a kid in 6th grade. Alright, where are... I think there's a special tool for this. Of course, I don't have it. Basically the way you get these off is you have to take the spring tension off of it, and then there's a special washer on here, and you carefully pull that washer a certain direction, and it disconnects. See how it's got that wide section. So we're going to do this one at a time, that way I don't get any of these parts mixed up. I don't know how critical that is. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing over to the wire wheel and clean off all of that crap left over from the exhaust. And then we'll be back. Alright, so that cleaned up pretty well. Now I just got to clean this out. I got a brass brush on here. Alright, let me check this out and see. That valve looks pretty good. The valve seat, and then we just have to lap the valve to fit it. This is always a kind of a fun thing to do because getting this stupid suction cup to fit on this, or to work. Come on. Don't need a ton of this stuff. Like I said, getting this to work. Alright, that's kind of what we want to see. Let's see here. I'll be back. I gotta clean out the crap in there. Alright, I'm going to be back. I got to set up for something to try and put that spring back in when you don't have the correct tool. Alright, so what I did, and this is a trick that I saw the instructor do when I was in that class in 6th grade, is I took some safety wire. I mean, you probably won't have any, but any kind of steel wire will probably work. And I just put it in a vise and put the 2 pieces of wire on it. So now I'm going to put this back in here. Place this in here carefully, and put this back in here. Oh, that didn't hold. Alright, I'm gonna have to, this is gonna take a bit. Alright, sorry I couldn't film that. It's just, in order for me to work on it, I had to be able to see it and had to get my head right over in front of it, but I had to go take this spring back out, put another piece of wire on it, put it in, and then carefully get this lined up properly, and get it got it lined up properly and got it seated. Then clip the wires off and pulled them out with the the wire cutter. So now I'm going to do the other side. I'm not really going to film it. Alright. I would not normally do this except for the fact that this thing's as old as it is, and I have no idea when the last time this engine was worked on properly. So just so you understand why this is so damn difficult, this goes in here and then it's held in place by spring tension, and you have to pull the spring off of it, slip it down, and then pull it out, and there's an awful lot of spring tension and almost no room in there. So this is the intake. So we're going to clean this up, lap it, put it back together, close this thing back up. I find it interesting that Briggs Stratton doesn't want you using abrasive cleaner on the spark plug, but then you have to use it on the valves. So let me go get this prepped to put back in, and we'll try. Doing an absolute bang-up job of destroying my cutting mat. Keep getting carb cleaner on it. It doesn't like that. Alright, I'm going to try and do this again, this time on camera. It's very difficult. Especially since I can't see exactly what I'm doing. You can see how little room there is to do this. Just a second here. I don't seem to have a pair of decent needle nose pliers out here. Alright, so we're on it. Theoretically, if I clip one of those wires, and now the other one. Zoom out here. All right. So that part is done. I just need to clean out these a little better, then I'm going to close it up. And the next step is I have to wait until I get the head gasket, which should get here sometime, anytime, eventually. Alright, that's enough for now. Okay, so this thing is back together, and one of the things I also did was I did my best to clean off this thing. It was absolutely caked with dirt. Unfortunately, I do not have a the electronic version of this, and I'm not going to spend the money on it. One thing I want to point out is when I took the flywheel off is that there's no provision for using a puller tool on this that I can see. The only exceptions might be these spaces here, but I found no reference to that in the manuals. So, as I said earlier, the thing we're waiting for is the gasket, so I can start, and the points, so I can start getting this thing back together.